I am miserable.
Does anybody else have one of those days where you're just depressed and crying and I guess lonely?
Attractive people are usually isolated and lonely.
Can we please normalize being nervous that you're never going to find your person?
Can we normalize?
What we should normalize is women making the first move. That way they won't be so lonely.
If you're having a bad day, just remember that I'm really lonely. I'm really sad.
Gen Z, the Generation Z, are so lonely they're posting friendship applications on Facebook.
Crazy. I feel like I've been chronically lonely since like 2020.
This is honestly becoming a trend, but men weren't the ones who started this mess. Kindly subscribe to the channel, as it is our sole form of support. Thank you.
Pretty girls are lonely, okay? I don't make the rules. And I'm not even trying to be like, oh, I'm so pretty. But I was fat and I was ugly, okay?
I just saw a video saying that attractive people are more isolated and lonely. And I just want to say, that makes so much more sense now. The reason I'm single and have no friends is just because people are so intimidated to talk to me because I'm so attractive.
Can we please normalize being nervous that you're never going to find your person? Like everyone's always like, you're in your 30s, you have plenty of time. No? Have you seen the dating options? Have you seen the dating pool these days when you're in your 30s? It's not pretty.
Being a single woman in your 30s can definitely be looked at as a failure, but let me tell you why it's not. Yes, my 20s were amazing. I had lots of fun. I was young, hot, not a care in the world, right? Now I'm in my early 30s. I'm much wiser. I believe I have emotional intelligence about my money, super self-aware, I have patience, financial stability. I know what my boundaries are and how to set them. I mean, overall, being in my 30s is great, but also being single and being able to do whatever the fuck I want without having to worry if I can or cannot do it. It's definitely the best feeling in the world.
That's amazing. She mentioned she used to be hot in her 20s, but now she's wiser at 30. Let me break it down for you. Any woman who says my 20s were fun and amazing are women who's had multiple partners hopping from guys to guys. They're women who's used to chase bad guys knowing they wanted nothing serious. And a woman who's in her 30s isn't necessarily a failure, it's just not a successful man's first choice. The fact is, as women age, some of them become less pleasant to be around and really hard to deal with. And it's really because of their attitude and demeanor. It's just a turn-off to men. It's like they've lost that feminine side they once had when they were younger.
I am absolutely sick and tired of going on dates and people are interviewing me to see if I'm a good person. I don't want to be a good person anymore. I'm fucking bored. They're like, oh, are you family oriented? No. I hate them all and I'm a whore. Next question.
I'm just having a really hard day and I try to get ready.
That women tend to be happier when they are single.
I could have married a lot of the people that I've dated.
If you hear something or an update about your ex, then it just kills you.
Women tend to be happier when they are single.
Struggling financially, being alone, having no one there to talk to as you age, no kids.
And I always thought I would have kids. I thought I would be married by now. And now the closer I get to it, and I'm scared. I don't know.
I didn't think it would be an issue. I'm 32 years old.
I'm 53. I would like to think that I'm still young, right?
The fact that you're 40 and single, still with no children. And now you find out that she's 8 weeks pregnant. And you so want to feel happy for her. But inside you feel so sad.
Happier when they are single.
I'm in a stage of life where I'm watching all my friends get married and have babies, and
you know that at 40, you're running out of time, and soon you won't have a choice at all.
Well, these women don't seem happy to me at all, and they're all single. They all seem like they're regretting their decisions, regretting not having kids, wishing they could go back and start over again. It's as if the life they thought would bring them freedom and fulfillment turned out to be empty and unfulfilling. They pursued careers, casual relationships, or a carefree lifestyle, but now they're faced with the harsh reality that those things don't provide the same lasting joy and meaning as family and true partnership. What's even more striking is that many of them won't admit this openly. Instead, they'll put on a brave face, posting on social media about their travels, their accomplishments, or their independence. But behind closed doors, the cracks in the facade start to show.
So this last year, my body count went from 1, the only guy I'd ever been with, to 110. 110 in just a year. I think that's pretty impressive. You know what that means? I had to talk to 110 different people this year. That's a lot of conversations.
You need help.
Nobody to call, nobody to text. Like, nobody like that. I feel so alone. Like, I always just feel so alone. I just want to, like, feel special as somebody. I just want to feel loved, but I can never feel loved. I feel so alone. I'm so over it. I'm so
This is the loneliness in most modern women today. They crave a deep intimacy and love from men, but they just feel so deserted by everyone. Some of them try and stay strong until they break. Then they turn to TikTok to record themselves crying. Truthfully, this is how some men's lives look as well, but they do it behind closed doors. The difference is, no one gives a damn about that. Men too long for meaningful connections, but they're often conditioned to suppress these desires, as if vulnerability and emotional needs are weaknesses rather than natural human experiences.
You guys always ask me, Carly, are you single? Yes. Yes, I am. By choice. Just not my choice.
If you're having a bad day, just remember that I'm really lonely, I'm really sad, and apparently studies show that the most lonely people are the most attractive people. So if you're having a bad day, just know that even attractive people suffer, even the prettiest people on the planet Earth suffer. You know, I've been crying all evening about the fact that I'm lonely and I'll never find my nerd boyfriend that I'm dreaming of. But it's okay, because the most attractive people are the loneliest, and that's just a fact. And unfortunately, it's just the way we go, because people are too scared to approach us because we're so pretty. And no one talks about how hard it is being the prettiest person, you know, having everything going for you. No one talks about it. Because it's really difficult. It's actually really isolating when you're the most perfect person on the planet Earth and no one wants to talk to you because of it. It's debilitating.
This is sort of a fallacy. If these women really want to be in relationships, why don't they make the first move and approach the guy they want? Instead, what they do is complain that they're lonely, complain they want relationships, but never make an effort to change it. They wait for men to approach them, expecting guys to do all the work, yet still demand equality in every other area of life. It's almost as if they want to maintain a double standard, where they expect men to chase and prove themselves, while they sit back and act as if their mere presence is enough. If you truly want something, wouldn't it make sense to take action toward getting it? These same women often criticize men for not stepping up, but fail to reflect on how they contribute to their own loneliness by being passive.
Gen Z needs to be way more forthcoming about how lonely we are, because I am extremely freaking lonely. I am spending Saturday night alone again. And I don't get it. I'm young, I'm pleasant, I'm friendly, I'm big hair, I'm a wing woman. Okay? Everyone just doesn't want to make eye contact with each other. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I've reached my breaking point of having to do this life thing alone. I just want to be held, nurtured, loved, cared for, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, in all aspects. I want my heart and soul to be seen and held. I just can't do it alone anymore, and I'm at my breaking point. I can do it physically alone. I've been doing it. but I don't want to. I don't deserve to, because I am worthy of companionship, of community, of love, of affection, of support, of someone lifting me up, motivating me, encouraging me. I am worthy of that. So I deserve to receive that. I don't want to do it alone anymore. And I've been crying all day because of it.
This is what happens when the boss babe, independent woman lifestyle isn't working. But this comes down to knowing how to pick a good man. Because there's plenty of good men out there. They're just not her type. A lot of women ignore the man who would be happy to hold them down, to chase the Chad who brings temporary excitement. They look past the guy who would treat them with respect, commit to them fully, and be there through life's ups and downs. Instead, they focus on the thrill of the guy who only shows up when it's convenient for him, the one who's exciting in the short term but unreliable in the long run.
I also feel like I'm getting older and it's like I have to put some effort into dating or I'm just going to be alone forever, but now I'm just honestly getting to the point where I'm just going to be the single aunt.
But like it's really hard when like I don't really have anyone to go to like on a Friday night.
Maybe I should just give up. But I don't know. Then I feel like if I give up, then it's like, then I'm totally throwing the towel in, and like, that sounds and feels sad.
But really, this is crazy. It's been a rough month for me, and I got COVID. Somebody help me. I'm so tired of being an independent woman sometimes. Sometimes, like, I just want to be taken care of. You know, my whole life, I've just been so independent.
I thought being in your early 20s was like supposed to be fun. I see all these having so much fucking fun. I am miserable. Miserable. To my core, miserable. What the fuck? This shit sucks. I'm suing whoever told me that this was supposed to be the most fun time in my life, because it is not.
If you guys are single, I hope that you can relate to how I'm feeling today. I've been feeling a bit down today, and I've been trying to figure out why. I think it has to do with being single at 30, and when you're this age, especially like when you grew up in the South like me, and people are getting married at like age 24, 27, 20, all the time. It starts to feel like sometimes you're watching people just move forward with their lives, and you're still kind of standing still. I definitely think in a lot of ways being single is a privilege. I've made videos on it. There are so many things that I love about being single, but in the same way that being single is a privilege, there's also a privilege to being in a relationship. One of those things being that you have somebody on a daily basis to support you, to talk to, that you also get to do these new milestones like moving in together, getting a place, like maybe buying a home, like if you live somewhere besides New York. Whereas those things like, you know, getting married are not things that you can do on your own. I think it's hard when you get to the point where you want a relationship, but you don't have good prospects for it. And, you know, like dating has not been a very encouraging process. It's actually like made me question more if it's going to happen for me in the future. So I'm just starting to feel a little bit like everyone is paired up, and like a lot of people I know are paired up, and then it's just like me and the world. So I feel like it's another one of those videos where it's like, I'm talking about how I feel because that's how I feel, and I'm always going to keep it real with you guys, but I don't have a solution. I hope that somebody can relate to this.
Women who get to 30 and still aren't married or don't have any children often didn't have their priorities straight in their 20s. And there's many reasons for that. Women who want to be boss babes or strong independent women, etc. But in this woman's case, she feels down because everyone around her is getting married and having kids, and that kind of reality really weighs on her. It's a tough pill to swallow, but that's just what happens when you prolong the process of starting a family. A lot of times when they get to that point, they just decide to freeze their eggs instead.
Because I am so lonely. It's not because of lack of courage. I'm lonely because I'm brave.
Another day of doing everything by myself because I'm single and I have no friends. But at least I don't have fake people in my life, and I'm not getting cheated on, so we're winning.
I turned 25 this week, and if I'm honest, I'm terrified. I'm terrified because I feel like a failure. And I don't know if anyone else watching this understands that feeling, but my life looks nothing like I thought it would at this age. When I was a kid, I always said by 25, I'll be married or I'll have a kid. I'll have this amazing career. And I've done a lot of cool things, don't get me wrong. But I'm about to be 25, and most nights I go to bed feeling so lonely. And then most days I wake up feeling lost, like I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I have this overwhelming thought of, is this it? Is this all there is? When you're 25 years old and you live alone and you have no partner and you have maybe 2 friends and you've struggled with mental illness your entire life, there's just not much to wake up for, is there?
Another reason why some of these women feel single and lonely is because of prioritization. In their younger years, many chose to focus on playing the field rather than settling down. They prioritized fleeting excitement over building something meaningful and lasting. Now, as they grow older, they see their friends starting families and experiencing the joys of committed relationships, while they're left to face the consequences of their choices, loneliness and regret. The issue is that many of these women believed they had unlimited time. They put their energy into casual flings or chasing men who weren't serious about them, assuming they could settle down later. What they didn't account for is that time moves fast, and as they age, their dating pool changes.
I'm not convinced that being pretty is even worth it. And I'm not just talking about like average pretty, I'm talking about exceptional beauty, noticeably more attractive than everyone else around you. Because while yes, you do have certain opportunities available to you that other people just aren't going to have, you never know if people like you or if they like you. You know what I mean? And that's probably a pretty sad experience to live in. And I am someone who gets deeply insecure when I see people that are just like way hotter than me. But then I remind myself, I don't know if it's worth it.
I generally think single, sad cat lady is just a stereotype that created by men. Because in my experience, I haven't met any ladies with cat who is sad. Because cat can bring them nothing but happiness in their life.
My cat is the love of my life. I'm married, and my cats make me happier than my husband. It's not a stereotype at all. It's just their last resort. It's them coping with their reality by getting a cat, because men just aren't interested in them anymore. It goes like this. Because these women aren't wanted, they have to find something to keep them content. Or else they risk feeling empty or even losing themselves in loneliness. They end up investing in companionship that fills a void left by relationships that never materialized. I mean, think about it. One woman calls her cat the love of her life, while another says her cat makes her happier than her husband. Imagine being the man who takes care of her, paying the rent, providing a home, and supporting her, only to hear that her cat brings her more happiness than he does. What a joke. I'm actually more concerned for the cat at this point.
And I'm just wondering, am I the only person like completely struggling? Am I the only one? Because I've been single a very long time.
You ever think about living in Los Angeles? Think again. This is the most lonely place ever, and they make you pay your arm.
At the end of the day, the only person you truly have is yourself. And not gonna lie, it gets kind of lonely sometimes. The older you get, all of your friends get into relationships, start having families, start doing their own thing. Same with your siblings, and your parents have their own lives. And I am like someone newly single, has been a couple months. But what really hits me is like you have no one to share the little things with. Because usually in high school, you would share it with your best friends. As you get older, you find a partner, you would share it with your partner. But now, when you're single, it's like, who do you share it with? I'm not gonna go call my friends. They're all busy with their own lives. Your parents don't understand it completely because they're a whole different generation. And then you don't have a partner to share it with. And it's like, I feel like no one actually cares. And I have learned that the only person you have is yourself. So you can only rely on yourself. Sorry if it's hard.
In this woman's case, she wouldn't be in the predicament of feeling lonely if she had followed in her friends' footsteps. While her friends were dating with the intention of finding something serious, building relationships, settling down, and starting families, she was likely chasing other priorities such as casual flings, personal freedom, or even unrealistic ideals of the perfect partner. It just makes you wonder what she was doing, wasting all that time, as though she thought she could hit pause on life while everyone else moved forward. Instead of taking relationships seriously when she had the chance, she may have believed that the grass was always greener, keeping her options open and jumping from one temporary situation to the next. Perhaps she thought that she'd always have time to find Mr. Right, or that the same level of attention and opportunities she enjoyed in her youth would always be there. But life doesn't work that way. Time doesn't wait, and neither do people.
You know what else I'd love to normalize? Is being single.
I turned 30 this year and I haven't been in a relationship in 7 years, and here's why I don't care and I'm not worried about it.
I'm going on a date tomorrow for like the trillionth time because that's part of life when you're single for like 9 years now. And I was just thinking, like, how nice must it be to experience going on dates with someone you're actually in a relationship with, where you can actually enjoy the activity, the place, the time, instead of every time you're on a date, it's, does this guy even like me? Don't drink too much. Don't say that. Am I ever going to see him again? Like, it must be nice to go on dates that aren't like that.
Yeah, this is insane. This woman is the issue. Going on a trillion dates and still being single after 9 years. That says a lot about her character. All she's really doing is racking up body counts. It's a clear indicator that she's either incredibly picky, unable to commit, or chasing after men who aren't serious about her. When someone is single for that long, despite having countless opportunities, it points to a deeper problem in how they approach relationships. It's not about bad luck at that point. It's about the choices they're making, the standards they set, or even the attitude they bring to each date. If someone has been on endless dates but hasn't been able to build a lasting connection, it often means they're either constantly looking for flaws, have unrealistic expectations, or simply don't know what they want.
All right, it's Saturday at 1:40 p.m. and here's what your Saturday looks like as a girl who is 30, single, and lives alone. This is coming from a girl who in her 20s thought that the worst thing that you could ever be was 30 and single.
And people go home to their families or partners or whatever, and you go home to an empty house.
Okay, I'm turning 30 in 3 months, 90 days from today. And so I figured since I'm still single, it's probably a good idea to consider freezing my eggs.
Freeze your eggs. Freeze your eggs as early as you possibly can.
When they call you and tell you that none of them worked, like,
You know, like they're mature, but like when you actually do the testing after making embryos, like I, in theory, could have nothing.
I think they even used the word discarded. They said they've all been discarded.
I really thought this process would like slow down my biological clock and I wouldn't feel as much pressure. And I feel way more pressure now.
For me, freezing my eggs allows me to fulfill my dreams on my own timeline without depending on a man or my biological clock.
This is a misconception many women have when it comes to freezing their eggs in their 30s or older. They think it's like a walk in the park, not fully understanding the risks or the limitations involved. Many believe that modern medicine has removed the biological clock entirely, but that's far from the truth. When they finally decide to go through the process and receive the bad news that their egg quality is low, reality hits hard and they start to freak out. It's a harsh wake-up call, but it's all biology. The body doesn't wait, and by the time they realize this, it's often too late. What many don't understand is that egg freezing isn't a guarantee of future fertility. It's a backup plan with no certainty of success. As women age, the quantity and quality of their eggs naturally decline, and the chances of retrieving viable eggs diminish significantly after 35. Even if eggs are successfully frozen, fertilization and implantation rates drop as egg quality decreases.
I don't want to be fixed up. I don't want a boyfriend. I'm young. It's fine. I'm 23. I don't need a man. I'm good.
I don't want like a monogamous relationship right now, which makes me feel weird. And I kind of think we need to normalize enjoying singledom in your 30s and above. And also like prioritizing other things above that part of your life.
I think there's like a tendency to tell women like, oh, it's just because you can't find anyone or something. I'm like, if I wanted to, I'm pretty sure I could find someone to be in a relationship.
Don't get me wrong, I love being single, but the worst part for me of being single is when you have a bad day and you come home from work and you come home to your empty apartment and you walk in and it's really dark, all the lights are off and it's also really quiet and you're the only person there. And you just kind of realize how alone you actually are. And then you just sit down on your couch and you realize like, wow, I'm the only one who lives here. There's nobody here to give me a hug or comfort me or to listen to how my day went. So that's the thing I miss about relationships the most, is that there's no emotional intimacy when you're single. You don't really have like a person or your person. Sure, you can text all your friends, but they're probably going to respond in 1 to 2, 3 business days. And by then you'll probably be over it. So yeah, it just sucks on the really bad days or when you're sick. I know when I'm sick, I spend a hell of a lot of money on DoorDash because I deadass cannot drag myself out of my apartment to go to CVS when I'm sick like a dog. I feel like it's too much of a burden to ask my friends to deliver medications for me. It's just like when you have those really bad days, just reemphasize that, damn, I really am all alone in this world, all by myself.
What she just described is how these so-called single by choice women feel when they come home to an empty house after a long day at work. But of course, they would never admit to it. They would never admit that they crave that intimacy or miss that physical closeness, because it would prove that men are right all along about them putting up a facade. These women often project an image of empowerment, insisting that being single is a choice rather than a result of circumstances. Yet, when the day is done and they're alone, the truth can hit hard. They might feel lonely and long for a partner who understands them, but admitting this would challenge the narrative they've built and expose them to judgment. Deep down, they know they want that comfort, someone to be there for them, someone to support them in their hardest. But they rather play the tough card instead, and at the same time, while dying inside of loneliness.
Me, if I showed up on your doorstep wearing this outfit and I asked to come inside and
yeah.
I think the worst part about being single is you don't have anybody that you can call or text immediately when you wake up from a nightmare.
Actually, the reason why most women, both modern, traditional, and futuristic, are choosing to remain single is because of this comment. The way you use the word alone. I think men translate their fear to us. Men are very fearful of being alone because they know that they fare better when they have a female partner. So men have a fear of being alone. Women don't, because we're not alone. Women have entire communities. Men are the ones that are alone in nursing homes, not women. We build communities, relationships. By and large, our children are around to take care of us. So we're fine. But you lobby this term alone like it's supposed to be something that we're scared of. There's also a difference between being alone and being lonely. And I think that's something that you need to understand the difference with. So you can be in a room full of people and still be lonely. But most women don't fear being alone because what they want most of all is peace of mind.
I would have to disagree, madam. If women were perfectly happy being alone, they wouldn't be out here asking for men or constantly talking about how hard it is to find a good man. The very fact that so many women are vocal about their struggles with loneliness and relationships proves that they're not content being by themselves. On the other hand, men don't have this same fear of being alone. In fact, most men have grown comfortable in their own company, focusing on their goals, hobbies, and personal growth, without feeling the need to chase after women for validation. What's happening now is a noticeable shift. Men have stopped paying women any mind and have completely stopped wasting their time approaching them. Why? Because they've realized that the effort rarely leads anywhere meaningful anymore. Modern dating dynamics often leave men feeling unappreciated, used, or undervalued. Approaching a woman nowadays comes with the risk of rejection, ridicule, or being labeled creepy, even if the intentions are genuine. For many men, it's simply not worth the hassle.
Just because I'm 30 and like haven't found my partner doesn't mean I need to like that I'm done for. Like she's like, everyone just tells you like you're being too picky, like you're being this, you're being that, and it's like that's not true. Like she's like, I'm just not settling.
Exactly.
Like it needs to be normalized to not settle.
Agree. I feel like I've been chronically lonely since like 2020. I'm just gonna be honest, I feel like I lost a huge chunk of myself during the time. I want to be more open and honest about it because I feel like I talk about stupid shit a lot, but I feel like loneliness is a topic that I don't hear a lot about, and I know a lot of us are dealing with it.
I realized recently that I love being single, and the only reason that I wouldn't want to be single is because I want to have a family and a father for my kids. My therapist asked me once what I was looking for, and I said, well, if I had to choose between having a husband and having kids, I'd have kids. And she was like, well, why is it an either or? Why do you have to choose between the two? Don't you want both? And I literally was thinking about it, and I was like, I want to have kids, I want to be happy, and then third on the list is I would like a husband. That would be fulfilling. But I'd rather have a good father for my kids than a good husband if I can only have one. And this was a really big eye-opening moment for me because it was a time in which I realized a couple days ago when I was getting martini with a friend that I actually genuinely do like being single. And if it weren't for kids, I'd be fine being single for the next 20, 30 years and like dating. And weirdly, I'm jealous of my friends who had like 2 or 3 kids in their 20s, though I'm sure that was really difficult, and have since divorced those people and now have kids and are just like freely dating with 8, 9, and 10-year-olds. And I'm sure there are definitely really difficult things that they're going through with that process. But anyways, the point I got to was I really like being single. So maybe a sperm donor is in my future, or adoption. I froze my eggs. Who knows what's next?
By the way, this woman is lying. She definitely craves a husband. She was the same woman who was willing to pay $5,000 to find a partner.
Hi, my name's Eve. I'm 35 years old. I'm 5'10", and I'm looking for a husband. Catch that. I'll pay $5,000 if you find me my husband.
Now, she's saying she's content with being single because she's accepted her reality of being unable to find one. This is simply a coping mechanism. It's not uncommon for people to change their narratives when they feel frustrated or defeated in their search for love. When someone has previously shown a strong desire for a relationship, but then shifts to claiming they're perfectly happy alone, it often indicates a deep-seated denial. This kind of dismissal of her earlier ambitions is a way to protect herself from further disappointment. Her claims of independence are likely a shield against the pain of unfulfilled desires. Deep down, she may still fantasize about a future with a loving partner, but admitting that would mean confronting her current situation, which she may find too painful to face.
Like, I'm okay with not having friends. I'm freaking okay with that because I like to be alone. But when it comes to like these social things, I'm like, let's avoid it because I don't have any friends.
Something I had to learn is that it's okay to admit that you're lonely. I think as a strong, independent Black woman, as a strong, independent woman, I think it is like this notion of you take care of yourself. And like, I think people look at me and they're like, you're so strong, you go on these trips, you do all these things. And yeah, I do that, but I still like crave partnership, right, and companionship. And I think in my last video when I shared that I went out to eat by myself because I was lonely, you know, it's okay to admit that, like, yeah, some days I do want to lay on the couch and cuddle, right? Like, I do a lot for myself, and in this economy, taking care of your house, paying your bills, doing all the things by yourself is draining. So shout out to you if you also do that. But it is okay to do all those things and still want and crave, like, the intimacy that comes with spending time with someone, right? Going on dates, all the things. I think the moral of what I'm saying is that it's okay to be lonely. It's okay to want to go on dates, right? It's okay to crave intimacy. Like, these are normal feelings. So don't ever feel bad about it. And I think if we shared it more, it would just help. So this is me sharing it more. Have a good day.
It's okay to crave intimacy indeed. After all, humans are social beings who naturally desire connection. But being strong and independent has nothing to do with wanting somebody simply because they're lonely. The issue is that many women wear this label of strong and independent like a badge of honor, expecting it to make them more appealing. However, identifying with that word alone is already a turn-off for most men. Why? Because when men hear strong and independent, it often comes with the implication that she doesn't need or value a man in her life. In her case, it's probably the reason why she's single and lonely, making it her whole personality. It's not the traits of strength or independence themselves that are unattractive. Those are great qualities in the right context. It's the attitude that sometimes accompanies them, a sense of superiority, unwillingness to compromise, or the vibe that a man would be nothing more than an accessory in her life.
Is it true that being in the wrong relationship is far better than being single?
No, absolutely not.
Because I'm hearing so many people say that they're staying in bad relationships because they don't want to be on their own.
Well, that's very troubling. Why would anyone purposefully decide to stay in a bad relationship?
Because they are afraid to be single.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case no one ever told you, there is absolutely nothing wrong with being single.
Now let me tell you, being single is so much better than being in the wrong relationship.
I absolutely agree with what they're saying, and it's truly a pleasure to focus on a good video for once.
Can we normalize that it's okay to be 30 and older and not have kids, not be married, and to be single? Can that be okay? Can that just be normal? I'm 32, and I feel like all I hear from folk is so when's it happening for you? When's your turn? I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know if that's even in my path. I don't know if that's gonna happen for me. And if it doesn't, can that be okay? Can that just be normal? I feel like society has placed this negative connotation on the fact that if you're single, it's a bad thing. It's this horrible negative thing. When actually I feel like it's not, it shouldn't be. But why? It's just, I hate that. Oh, if you're single, then there must be something wrong with you, or something like that. But fuck, there are things wrong with me. But there's things wrong with everybody. Everybody has their shit. Everybody has their gig. Leave us single folk alone.
Sure, no problem. Let's normalize it. But let's also normalize men's preferences for not wanting to date older women, especially when they feel that these women wasted their prime years when they were younger. Men often face a lot of hate for their dating preferences, and that needs to be normalized as well. Moreover, when older women prioritize their careers or personal freedom during their prime years, they may inadvertently overlook the potential for building lasting relationships. As a result, they may find themselves in a situation where they are suddenly seeking partnership later in life, only to discover that many men are looking for different qualities in a partner at that stage. Too late.